After suffering from a fatal accident, a woman is successfully saved from tragedy by having her human soul attached to a robotic body. But with her fate being secured by a company claiming to have her serve as a weaponizing asset for them against their adversaries, can she endure this challenge with her humanity put to the test? Hello, and welcome to our channel. Today we'll recap and review a sci-fi action film and adaptation called Ghost in the Shell. Let's check it out!
In the not-so-distant future, advancements in robotics has made it possible to integrate both the human and robot together. Body components like the brain can be assigned to robots. This is done to retain as much as possible humanity within the vessel. The opening scene shows the reconstruction of a woman, Mira, whose brain is to be fed into a robot. From all indications, Mira met with an accident that left her body severely damaged. In an attempt to save her life, Honka Robotics used such people to create enhanced robots that they eventually use as soldiers.
Given another shot at life, wouldn't you rather speak like RoboCop than lose it all and be buried or cremated?
As they study the success of this integration of man with man, Dr. Ouellette, her designer, and Mr. Cutter, the CEO of Honka Robotics, discuss her future. Cutter wants her to serve as an enhanced soldier in an anti-terrorism unit referred to as Sector 9. Ouellette, however, feels that Mira is not prepared for this particular job function. It is eventually revealed that Cutter had his way, and 1 year later, Mira is now a brilliant soldier referred to as the Major. On one of her assignments, she listens to a conversation between a representative of Honka Robotics and his business associate, a man of African descent. Her partners are Bateau and Togusa, and their team lead, Aramaki. In the course of the discussion, certain bots referred to as geishas enter into the place where the meeting is being held and begin to shoot at the attendees. More so, the geisha serving the Honka representative, Mr. Osmond, attacks him and begins to strangle him. Against the orders of Aramaki, Mira jumps off the high-rise building and breaks into the house. She opens fire and neutralizes all the bots there. One of the bots, however, acts like it suffered a glitch. It initially begs to live, and in a moment utters a cryptic message about cooperating with Honka Robotics and dying. Mira shoots the bot and destroys it. After the operation, they carry out some checks on the bots that attacked them. Here, they find out they were all hacked by an external and unknown source. As they all leave, Aramaki rebukes Mira over her disobedience of his orders. Mira goes to Dr. Ouellette to get checked on. Following the operation, she needs some minor repairs to be done. In the course of their interactions, she tells Ouellette about some memory flashes that she has. However, Ouellette dismisses them as mere glitches. Mira is still curious about the geisha that she shot and visits another scientist, Dr. Dolan, who is working on it. She asks to be connected to the geisha in a bid to access his memory. As she is connected, she appears in a dark building with figures of humans who appear to be dematerializing. As she probes further into the memory of this bot, she is suddenly attacked by a horde of dark bots. Bateau pulls her out of the connection, but she reveals that she now knows where the hacker is. Mira and Bateau go to a club where she is strapped to a pole and ridiculed. Mira attacks her assailants and Bateau comes to her rescue. A gunfight ensues and they take out their attackers.
Mira is almost a clean slate. No records of her past or what she stood for and represented before her accident. However, the memory flashes that she experiences are good indications that there is more to her existence than what she's been told. She is on a quest for self-discovery because the soul in her body is leading her in this particular direction.
After defeating the attackers, they walk into a room rigged with explosives and it detonates. Mira suffers critical injuries from this and Bateau loses his eye. Bateau's eyes are replaced with cybernetic eyes while Mira's entire body has to be fixed. Meanwhile, Cutter is upset about Mira's interruption of the meeting and the subsequent shootout. He warns Aramaki about her behavior, but Aramaki is not one to be intimidated and reminds Cutter that his allegiance is to the Prime Minister and not Honka Robotics. Meanwhile, the hacker who is on a mission to take down Honka Robotics finds Dolan and takes her life. When Mira finds her body, they also find a drive that has a list of employees and associates of Honka Robotics. Prominent on the list is Dr. Ouellette. Mira quickly figures out that Ouellette is his next target, especially as a number of scientists and researchers have also lost their lives in recent times. They move out to find and secure her. The hacker, Kuze, proceeds to hack the minds of two truck drivers. He causes them to run into Ouellette's car. As she crawls out of it, they open fire on her. Mira and the team arrive and a gun battle ensues. Mira pursues one of the attackers in her invisible suit and apprehends him. As they take him for interrogation, he tells them that he is not aware of anything. All he remembers is going to pick up his daughter. When Mira shows him a picture, he admits that the person in the picture is his daughter. However, it turns out that the person in the picture is not a little girl, but him. This convinces the team that Kuze hacks and manipulates the minds of his victims by implanting false memories. He speaks through the captured man before making him commit suicide with the cord around his neck.
The advancement of robotics technology can be considered a beautiful thing, as it would enhance the quality of living on a significant scale. However, just like it's possible to breach data and infect systems with malware, is it also possible that man may just find a way to hack into the consciousness or memories of others when robotics technology grows?
Togusa tracks the address of the hacker to a private location. Here, she finds Kuze, who captures her and begins to tell some unpleasant things about Honka Robotics, and also reveals that he, like a lot of others, was experimented upon and disposed of when he turned out to be what they considered a failed project. He later releases Mira and tells her not to take the medications from Honka, as they were responsible for suppressing her memory. Mira is almost convinced, especially when she sees a familiar tattoo on his body. Mira goes to confront Ulette after hearing what Kuze said. Ulette confesses that 98 subjects were unsuccessful in their trials and died. Mira was the only one who turned out to be successful. When Cutter finds out that Mira has been acting in a way that speaks of rebellion, he requests that Ulette eliminates her during her next medical checkup. Ulette is unable to do this and instead helps her escape, but not before giving her an address.
Major is caught up in an identity crisis. While she's a tough and competent soldier, she cannot do away with the internal search for connection. And the flashes of memories are not helping her reduce her innate desire to answer the question of who she really is and what she represents.
Cutter is angry with Ulette for helping Mira to escape, so he shoots her. Meanwhile, Mira goes to the address that Ulette gave her and meets an Asian woman there who says that Mira reminds her of her daughter, who was taken away from home a long time ago. From their conversation, Mira seems to be having a lot of questions in her mind as the environment appears familiar. It turns out that this is her actual home, and the woman is her mother. Although she is now more of a cyborg, her mother seems to share a bond with her. As she leaves the house, almost abruptly, she tells her mother that she would visit her again. She calls Aramaki to inform him of what she just discovered at her former home. Aramaki informs her that Ulette is dead and that Cutter wants to frame her for taking the life of the doctor. They intentionally connect Mira to the grid so that Cutter can eavesdrop on their conversation. Indeed, Cutter overhears the conversation and their plans to take him down.
Cutter sends out his henchmen to eliminate Aramaki, but in the words of Aramaki, rabbits should never be sent to kill a fox. He eliminates his attackers. All efforts by Cutter to take out Bateau and Togusa also fail.
Mira, who is now convinced that Honka Robotics is an evil corporation, meets up with Kuze in a secret location. However, Cutter is aware of this location and sends in huge bots to attack them. The bots attack them fiercely. Mira's shots seem to be no match for it as it fires at her and Kuze relentlessly. The huge spider-like bot collapses a building on her as Kuze believes that she is dead. With Major out of the way, it turns its attention to Kuze and attacks him, almost killing him. Mira, however, appears, and after a lot of strenuous efforts, she takes the robot apart. She also rips her arm in the course of the fight with the robot. As they both lie by each other in exhaustion, Kuze is shot from a helicopter, and Aramaki sends his men to take out the shooter. Bateau comes to the rescue of the badly injured Mira. Aramaki confronts Cutter and charges him for the assassination of Dr. Ulette. When he tries to shoot him, he gets shot and loses his gun. Aramaki calls Mira, requesting for the execution of Cutter. She gives her consent, and Aramaki wastes no time. As the movie ends, Mira returns to working at Sector 9 and decides that she would not be defined by the limitations of her cybernetic and unnatural body in the discharge of her duties to humanity.
Following the release of this film, it had to compete with other Hollywood releases, and so it didn't get the recognition it deserved. While some people argue that it didn't clearly tell the story of the initial Japanese anime released in 1995, it is beyond the shadow of any doubt a brilliant movie. If you enjoy anime and Japanese manga, we are sure you will not be disappointed with this movie. Please subscribe to our channel to be notified when we upload, and don't forget to suggest movies that you want us to recap in the comments down below.